Hey guys, we are back for another Alien vs. Predator arcade figure review from NECA Toys, taking a look today at the Arachnoid Alien. So this is the second one in the mix so far. We've got him here in the same kind of box as the previous Chrysalis Alien. You can see him there in the window, product shots, logo on the side, on the bottom there, and then we have got that great cross-cell character select screen lineup motif on the back, as well as a bit of a write-up. So let's do it, let's pull this guy out and take a look. Alright guys, here he is out of the package, our AVP Arcade Arachnoid Alien, the second of three aliens, drawing me very close to wrapping all of these up finally. It's been a pretty good ride going through all these because, let's be honest, this is an awesome subline for AVP, and I've been very, very happy to take a look at these guys. I've got one gripe when it comes to this particular figure as far as articulation goes, so let's jump right into that, see what this guy can do, and of course we'll start at the head. So you've got a head that can move back and forth a little bit, and then you can bobble side to side slightly, and it gives you rotation at the neck itself where it meets the shoulders, and then you've got hinges down there as well because this guy's kind of meant to crawl in some ways, you know, kind of scurry along, so it gives you the option to allow his head to be forward facing while his whole body is actually pointed toward the ground. The arms go out about that far. They rotate at the shoulder, of course. You've got rotating double jointed elbows, and then you've got forearm rotation. You've also got wrist rotation, and you've got wrist hinges. You've got your upper diaphragm twist, so you go side to side, back and forth, all that good stuff. The legs on this guy will go out about that far because, of course, you know, it's an alien. He's got the plates here, but they rotate all the way back and forth. So you can kind of get those legs to go all the way out and then hinge them all the way back at that knee to give him kind of crawling poses there, which work really, really nice. The one gripe area that I've got is at the ankles. Mine are incredibly, incredibly tight, and I'm not really sure exactly how they're meant to be articulated. The peg seems to be going straight down, so I want to say they should rotate, but mine really don't want to. I've heated this ankle up, and I got the hinge to move, but I'm worried that I'm going to shear that peg off, so I've stopped doing that. If someone knows, let me know. Both of them are just really, really difficult to move on mine, to the point where I just don't want to do it anymore right now. And then we've got toe articulation down there. So, you know, he does move really, really well for the most part. You can get him into some pretty interesting positions. My only real issue is, you know, I'm not really sure what's going on with my ankles. I've had no problem with articulation in this line up until this particular moment. So it seems to be a little different for the others. It could just be my particular figure, probably is, but it's worth noting, you know, as usual, if you feel something weird going on with one of these figures, just heat them up and see what you can do to make them move, because I did get this one to move just fine. I just don't know exactly how far it can move because it feels like there is a tremendous amount of resistance at that peg. And then, of course, as usual, we do have the bendy wire tail, so you can get this guy all over the place, get him moving around. So he does move really well. You know, again, my only real gripe is with those ankles, and I always dig the bendy wire tail. They work pretty much as expected. No issues there. Get him into some crazy poses and have it whipping all over the place. Now, as far as the overall look and feel here, this guy is closer, I suppose, in some ways to a standard xenomorph than the Chrysalis and the Razor Claw alien, but he's still very much different and just, you know, a little bit more unique. Not just because he is kind of a teal green color, and really that's what does it for me the most. He does have one very cool defining characteristic, which I'll get to in a second, but the color on this guy absolutely does it for me. There's a lot of wash and, of course, dry brushing. You can see we've got on like the thighs here, we've got the blackish under skin tones that are there, but then we've got that kind of teal green within a swipe of white that goes through. It kind of gives it a almost a cell shaded kind of look with like that kind of white shadow that you see in older cell shaded kind of games, which is kind of cool. So I do like that kind of stuff. You know, we've of course got the bendy wire tail, which we've talked about already. You've got these humongous kind of things that just jump out of the forearms here on the side, but it's mostly the same kind of stuff you would expect to see from a xenomorph. He's just a little different, and of course he is kind of meant to be put into some interesting poses with his arachnoid style and name, so you can kind of get him down in some crouch down positions that make this body look a lot cooler than if he was just, you know, standing straight up, and he's really not meant to stand straight up anyway. Most xenomorphs don't do that to begin with. But the big thing for me when it comes to this particular figure is the head. And it's not just the fact that he has kind of these fins that come out of the side, or the fact that, you know, he has the standard xenomorph inner jaw. It's this really, really awesome, very, very cool kind of head that's on the back here that will allow you to see the inner workings of the skull on this thing. So you can kind of see the interior of the skull on this particular alien. We've seen similar stuff like this with the gorilla alien, for example. He has something kind of similar, but it's frosted and it has kind of a black overspray back here, and then there's a bunch of spines and ribbing that runs up and down the top of the head. So while this guy does seem, to me anyway, at least pretty standard in a number of ways, there are a lot of cool poses you can get into to make this guy kind of come to life a little bit more. But then he also has some interesting little extras like these fins on the arms, and then of course the head sculpt, the fins that come out of the top of the head. And then really it's all about the color with this one, just like with the Chrysalis alien and its yellow bone colors, and the Razor Claws, which has the kind of reddish pink hues. This green color is really different, very unique, and it's just an interesting design that's kind of accentuated by a really fantastic paint scheme that accentuates the normal awesome design that NECA puts into these figures, because it's another instance where we have a ton of detail crammed everywhere when it comes to this figure to give it that kind of biomechanical look that aliens are known for. So overall, this is a pretty cool figure. I mean, you can't have one of these without getting the rest of them. And this one is probably not my favorite by any means. I don't think that one's going to be taken away from the Chrysalis alien for me. But it's still a cool design. It moves well, except for the ankles on mine, which I mentioned. And the paint on this figure, the paint is really what it's all about for me. The colors, the way they apply the paint, the way it makes it kind of mimic that cel-shaded type of style while being very much a standard alien if you want it to be. This guy doesn't necessarily scream video game look like maybe the Predators do or Dutch and Lynn, but I like the idea that these guys really mesh well with those other figures while also meshing well with your standard aliens, because they still very much look the part. So it's an all-encompassing kind of thing, I suppose, when it comes to these figures. They're just a lot of fun. That's really all it boils down to. So that's going to do it for this look at the NECA Toys AVP Arcade Arachnoid Alien. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.